What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at about $85,500 right now. Down on the day about 1.6% after yesterday's 5% pump. We are resting right on top of our prior areas of resistance that we had for a couple days there. Right here. This is anything but bearish, at least at the moment. If we do go below this level, if we do go below this 4-hour closing high, that could suggest that we are going lower, right? What we're looking for ultimately to validate that we are going lower is a close below 80,000 essentially, right? I think it's is it this high to low? Yeah, it's this high to low. 80,700 actually. $80,700 is what we're looking for. If we get that, hold on 1 second here. If we get that, we're likely done with this retracement and then beginning an extension off of this low to high here. What do I mean by extension? I mean, if we take a low to a high, your extensions are 1272 to the 1618 and potentially even lower than that. Yes, 74K to I would say about 68K is a very possible outcome for Bitcoin to achieve on this next drop. I do expect it to drop more because, simply put, we're in a downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows. I didn't draw it the best, but you can see how it's going. 1 second, guys. I gotta take care of this. Okay. Downtrend would imply if you got a lower high, then you're going to go form a lower low. If not, maybe we get some kind of higher low and we can build from there. That'd be nice. But I'm not completely convinced this downtrend is over until we close above 91,000, right? $91,000 is the area that we're looking for. We can reach for that. We can wick through it. We can go any which way around it. But unless we're closing a day above it, it's very important to get that day to close above it. I'm not convinced. And even then, we need I think 2 days in a row. We had one day here that closed above it, and that didn't matter. You need 2 days, 2 days in a row, close above this last like significant kind of daily closing high, and then close above all these low points here, get back into the range. That to me would really validate this as a low. Until then, I'm not convinced, right? I want to look. I actually want to look at some of these other indicators. We don't really need the MFI or that there. And then I gotta zoom the. I don't know why, man. The MACD is always so zoomed in. There's got to be a way to fix that because that's just annoying every single time. We are building bullish momentum. That's the biggest spike up on the histograms that we've seen in a long time, right? You're getting higher highs in your histogram while promoting lower highs in the price. That is hidden bearish divergence of sorts. You're showing more bullish momentum now and getting less results than you have really throughout this whole downtrend in the price. So that's actually not a good thing. The oscillators are firmly to the downside. We have a bit of a double bottom here, which is kind of nice. I wonder, have we double bottomed? Have we found support here before? Just above this area, a little bit lower in this area. Let's see. Going back in time, that's probably it. That's all that we need to see. We are pretty low in the MACD oscillator, so I think that what this says is we are at the we've seen the majority of this downtrend happen, right? We probably don't have too much more to go. Double bottom here, the next low, whenever it comes in, it might be a higher low with the MACD. Assuming we get a lower low with the price, that would likely signal a form of bullish divergence instead of this hidden bearish divergence that we have here. Make no mistake, too, the oscillators here, at least the blue oscillator, it is above this last peak here. So that's a higher high while having a lower high. That's multiple forms of bearish divergence, hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame. What's hidden bearish divergence? It just means you're likely going to go down. Okay, that's all it means. Even if it's a little bit. Stochastics just can't seem to get overbought. They keep having no problem getting oversold. It's not a good look. I'm not optimistic on this at all. And then the daily RSI, of course, you're still in a downtrend here. It's literally accurate. It's perfect. It's completely perfect. It's crazy. Maybe not so crazy. So lower high in the RSI, higher highs with lower highs in the price on the MACD and the stochastics. I wonder what's going to happen. We're probably going to go down, right? The LRO is building some bullish momentum, or I should say decaying its bearish momentum, but not enough. Let's look at the 4-hour because it's not really. And by the way, the LRO is saying that this is a very key level here. at about $106,600. That's a very, very key level. 106,500, somewhere in that zone there. 4-hour time frame. On the shorter term basis, this is a key level right here at about 82K. If we break through 82K by the LRO's definition, we'd be done with this this momentary uptrend that we have. Let's see, what's the 1 hour say? About the same price. Okay, cool. I like it when it agrees on the shorter term time frames. That just helps validate things. But I don't think we have to. There's no reason to necessarily get concerned if we go below 82K. That's just what the LRO says. I would say, hold on, wrong fib. I would say it's time to get concerned or excited for the downside. Not when you break below 82K, but when you break below about $80,700, $80,500. When you close below there on a daily basis, you have to close below there. Just like you have to close above 91K to validate that we're going higher and that this could be the possible low. You have to close below 80,700, 80,500 to validate that this was the momentary high and this was not the low. We're going lower, right? Stuff like that. I want to get rid of the LRO now. I just wanted to look at the MACD, really is all I wanted to see on the daily time frame. Let's see, we'll get rid of that. These indicators, sometimes they're helpful on the 4 hour, but oftentimes stochastics, MACD, you shouldn't really pay attention to them on the 4 hour. It's not that important. They can lie to you a lot more. Bitcoin here, moving up a little bit. That's nice. That's not bad, man. That's not bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're moving through the roof right now. I would love it if we were, but let's just see. Again, going back to this fib here, from the high there to the low there. I don't think that was the actual high, my bad. There you go. We tipped the golden ratio, and now it's looking like we're finding support at the 0.5. Doing this is very common, actually, whenever you are working your way higher. So if we can bounce off the 0.5 here and then close above the 618, the target area implied would be about 90,800, which is about 91K. To $92,800, something like that. And if we get just a little bit into that box there, I would assume that could implicate a lot bigger things, you guys, as long as it comes in the form of a daily close and not just like a wick. Of course, the first step, in case anybody missed it, the very first step, if you weren't paying attention, is we have to close above the golden ratio. If we come up here and we form a lower high, and then come back down to the 0.5, well, we're likely going lower. If we form a double top, then we're likely going lower. If we wick into the golden ratio, but we don't close above it, and we come back down and we close below it, we are likely going lower, right? What we're getting set up for right now, I think, is on a 4 hour basis. If we get a higher closing high than this high here, we will likely have a lower closing high on the RSI, and that will provide bearish divergence on the 4 hour time frame. And it wouldn't be too dramatic. It wouldn't be that significant a bearish divergence, but enough to perhaps turn this thing around. We'll see, though. We'll see. Right now, this isn't a bad look. I will say, from what I know about fibs, when you reject the golden ratio and you bounce off the 0.5, that's normally a good thing, right? Bouncing off the 382, also a pretty common thing whenever you're building up, but it's more bullish if you bounce off the 0.5, especially if you tie that in with prior areas of resistance here. So the 4 hour does look pretty damn bullish. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. 1 hour looks good too. I mean, you're bouncing off the 50 there. You've got a lower low here in your RSI than you did back here, and that's a higher low in price. That's hidden bullish divergence on the short-term time frames. The short-term time frames are definitely disagreeing with the longer-term time frames, so we might move up a little bit today, but I'm curious to see how we move the rest of the week. I'd love to be wrong. I'd really love to be wrong, but I don't know if we're going to get all the way up above 91K on a closing basis. And again, even if we do, we have to close above there 2 days in a row to really make the impact official. Decent volume. 51 minutes left. Yeah. But this thing, it's moved up this much. There's not a lot of volume. It's just the beginning of the hour. Everybody's waking up in America. Yeah, I bet this is fake, man. I bet by the time most of you guys watch this, or just give it like 8 hours, if not by the end of the day, certainly tomorrow, I would expect we are moving down. But time will tell. We'll see. We'll see how well that ages. It really wouldn't surprise me at all if we moved up to about this same exact area. We had some kind of double top or lower high or slightly higher high. As long as there's no 4 hours closing above the golden ratio, I wouldn't be too excited about this. And even then, even if you do get 1 4 hour to close above it, sometimes you get right in there and then you get right out. So if it's not persistent, if it doesn't persist up here and then go higher, I mean, obviously you're turning down and you're probably rejecting this area. If you come back down to the 0.5 after doing it once, The second time would likely imply that you do go to the 382. And I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of support right there at the 382. Maybe you do find support at 83K, but I would think 82K is a more likely support area. Right, if you look at $82,000 here, something like that, 82.3K, prior areas of support here, prior areas of support there, prior areas of support there. Nothing really going back in time. Yeah, nothing really there. So it's really not even that significant of a support area. Make no mistake, you guys, if we do get below the 382, if we do start closing candles below the 382, that would look pretty convincing to me, at least, because we're breaking out of this downtrend or this uptrend here. It would look pretty convincing that we are in fact going lower than this low. But the ultimate barrier to break through is the 236, is at $80,600, $80,700, somewhere around there on a daily closing basis. But even before then, just before then, we will have lower lows on this thing and break through this uptrend here. But if we get lower lows than that, we close below the 236, it's over, man. We're going down. And again, where are we going to? We're probably going to go to about 71, 72K, somewhere in there, 73K. But 74 to 69K is the ultimate kind of target range. I don't know if I have anything else that I want to say. I think we've gone over everything. Let's look at some ribbons real quick too and just see. Yes. What about the daily time frame? There we go. It is taking its sweet time. Yep, looking a little bit bearish, y'all. If we get out of the ribbon, if we can close in the ribbon today, I suppose it's a good thing. A good goal to have, I suppose, would be for today to close above 85. What is that number specifically? So we know 85,700. Yeah, close above $85,700 today or higher. And that might imply that we are, in fact, going above 90K. If you can close today above $80,700. Sorry, $85,700. If not, likely this is just a little bit of resistance. We just touched it, and then we rejected it, and we're going lower. This ribbon is pretty bearish at the moment. The 3-day ribbon, not quite yet crossed, but we're also in a position where we might reject right off the bottom of it, so that's not encouraging. If we can close today or the next 2 days and 10 hours, if we can close this candle above about 87,500, that would be encouraging. And the weekly time frame is fine, but the ribbon, oftentimes whenever you live in it like this, not always, but oftentimes, right? If you look back here, you came down, you tipped it for support, you weren't living in it, right? You tipped it for support and you came back out. You were living just above it, but not in it. Here, you were living in it a little bit. Where did you find your low? Right below the ribbon. And then you came up and you went down, right? Let's see if there's any other examples like that. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not so much. Here, you're not living in the ribbon. You're living above it, and that's fine. Finding support above it's fine. Wicking through it is not the same as living in it, right? Living in it is like this. Whenever you're closing in it, you're basically living in it, right? That's how I say it. I don't think if you Google what does living in the ribbon mean, I don't think anybody's going to know, because that's just the terminology I'm using. Whenever you live in the ribbon, you find support below the ribbon, not in the ribbon, right? Whenever you're living in the ribbon here, you're finding support below it. This is kind of not fair, actually, because it's too thin. It's not as accurate right here. You're living in the ribbon here, you find support below it. We're living in the ribbon here, where are we going to find support? Probably below it. Every week that we are above this red line, the red line does move up a little bit. That red line right now is at about $75,600. So likely we will find support where? Below the ribbon. Likely does not mean it's guaranteed. Likely, just means that it's a good chance that it happens. If not, we still can move to the upside. That's very possible, but I've told you everything that we need to see for that to happen. The monthly ribbon is fine. We are so fine on the monthly ribbon, you guys. And in fact, I wonder what would next month, if we close, let's just say, let's say we close this month here or around here. Hold on. If we can close this month around here, even a little bit lower, how much might this ribbon grow by April? Like, if we don't find our low by the end of March, if we're continuing to drop by April, which I think could really happen, especially with April 2nd coming up. If you guys don't know what's going on with April 2nd, just, Trump is putting on tariffs on the whole world, and that will likely cause a drop in the markets. This month here went from 63, if we look all the way here at the 20, right? It went from a $63,257 price to $67,200, so 63.2, 67.2, so that's a $4,000 jump. If we close this month less red than this last month. I would assume, or like somewhere up here, if it's not a dramatically red month like last month was, I would assume we see much of the same growth. So probably another $4,000 from 67,200. That put us at about $71,200. And that would be a really nice look to bounce off of, right? You can see the monthly ribbon is a lot more respected. We bounced right above it. That's a really good look. You don't even have to actually touch the line, to be completely fair. Let's see. You're living in it here. You found support below it. That's just kind of how it happens. I wonder, what was that one leaf you were talking about, man? Let's see. High to low, or low to high here. If we take this out of log. This golden ratio, I think, is right, yeah, basically right there. It's basically right there where this yellow line will be if March was to close here or lower, but not too much dramatically lower. It's basically right here. That's crazy. Yeah, golden ratio on the linear scale, not on the log scale. If it's in log like mine is, you wouldn't notice that. I mean, maybe it's a little bit lower or whatever, but that's fine. Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say, you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If we want to go up, we got to close above that golden ratio, that momentary golden ratio, this area of resistance that we're at right here. We have to close above about 87,000 and a half. To really validate this low as a low, you need to get above 91K on a daily closing basis. Just because you go to 91K does not absolve you. You need to go above there. If you close above this yellow line, you're kind of living in the ribbon, and that gets you set up to find resistance at least above the ribbon. So you would see prices above 90K. But just because you close above it today doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that. You can come back out of it the next day. It's very possible. But if you want to maintain a kind of bullish posturing, I would say at the very minimum today needs to close above $85,700. If it can't do that, then there ain't no hope. We're going down, you guys. This is just another rejection off the daily ribbon in a series of rejections that have led us down here and will likely take us to lower lows. I've got nothing else for you. 69K, 72K, it's coming up. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.